Tonight at 11, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is trying to find at least 2 alleged shooters after shots were fired before dinner time tonight. One shooting turned deadly. The other was a double shooting outside an apartment complex in Moncrief. Now, here's what we know at this hour. First, to that double shooting. Right around 3:45 this afternoon, officers were called to Hilltop Apartments on West 45th Street in Moncrief. When they got there, they found 2 victims in the parking lot of the apartment complex with gunshot wounds. Investigators say after shots were fired, the alleged shooter just ran off from the scene. Both victims taken to the hospital. One was believed to have life-threatening injuries, the other non-life-threatening. However, investigators say around 1:30 this afternoon, one person was killed in a separate shooting in Jacksonville. Now, this one happened in the area of Pickett Street and Edgewood Avenue West. The Pickett Street shooting puts the city closer to having one of its deadliest years. To date, there have been at least 365 shootings in the city of Jacksonville. 116 of those, including officer-involved shootings, have been deadly. Some of them had several victims, leaving 119 people dead just from the shootings. At least 22 other people have died because they were stabbed or beaten, or the deaths are considered foul play but cause undetermined. That puts the city's homicide count at 141. Let's compare that with last year. Last year, the homicide count, 158. This year isn't over.